Today we're talking about SpaceX and their plans for 2024. But before we get into that, GM, Cruise, and Honda are teaming up to introduce a driverless ride-hailing service in Japan, which could launch in early 2026 if things go according to plan. The companies have entered a memorandum of understanding to form a joint venture for the project, and they're hoping to establish the company in the first half of 2024, provided they're able to secure the necessary regulatory approvals by then. Their ride-hailing service will deploy the Cruise Origin electric shuttle van that the companies had developed together. It's a self-driving vehicle with no steering wheel or even a driver's seat, which means it also has no pedals and no rear-view mirror. Instead, it has a big cabin space where up to 6 passengers can sit facing each other, and its doors slide open like a subway's. The opportunity for the ride-hail service in Japan, which is expected to be the first of its kind, is huge, GM said in its announcement. It has the potential to solve the country's ongoing driver shortage and could provide an alternative for those who can't use Tokyo's extensive train and subway system for any reason. While it's still early days for the project, the companies already have a vision for how they want to execute their plans. They're looking to start by developing dozens of Cruise Origins in central Tokyo by 2026 before expanding the fleet to 500 Origins. After that, they're hoping to make the service available outside of the capital center. Like any other similar service, passengers will be able to hail an Origin through a dedicated app as well as pay for their ride. SpaceX is planning to launch as many rockets as it can over the next 2.5 months in an attempt to fly 100 flights by the end of the year, company exec Bill Gerstenmaier recently told the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Space and Science. He also revealed that the company has an even more ambitious goal for 2024, to launch around 12 flights a month for a total of 144 missions for the whole year. According to a company official who talked to Ars Technica, SpaceX intends to ramp up its mission numbers next year, mostly so that it could officially roll out its satellite-to-cell phone service. With our 2 million users, we need that constellation refreshed, the spokesperson told Ars. We're also going to look at direct-to-cell communications with Starlink, and that's a key feature that gets added next year with those 144 flights. The company first announced the service, which will allow normal smartphones to connect with its satellites, back in 2022. It made the revelation alongside T-Mobile, which promised to make the capability accessible to its subscribers. T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert likened the technology to putting a cellular tower in the sky and said it could eliminate dead zones one day, allowing people to easily get in touch with loved ones even if they're in the middle of the ocean. SpaceX VP of Starlink Enterprise Sales, Jonathan Hofeller, also said earlier this year that the company is gearing up to start testing the service. As Ars notes, SpaceX previously said that the capability will require larger satellites that will launch on board the company's Starship vehicle. The giant rocket is yet to be operational, though, and the company had to design an intermediate-sized Starlink satellite that can fly on its Falcon 9 rockets. The satellite is bigger than older models, but smaller than the ones needed to enable voice and data services. SpaceX doesn't have plans to roll out Starlink voice and data until 2025, though, and will introduce its direct-to-cell capability with texting coverage only next year. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Today's show featured journalism by Gadget contributor Mariella Moon and was produced by Spoken Layer. I'm Imran Sheikh, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
Spoken Layer.